Okay, we're back again. August 31st, 2012. I gave him a little happy birthday. Thanks. Testing this Android phone thing out. It's great, other than it's cheap and I broke it already. $3. You can get it at eBay. That's not an advertisement for eBay, but if you want to do this, you can probably rig it up a little bit better. I just broke the spring. It goes up and down. But enough of that. This story is about Dave Evil. D-A-V-E-E-V-I-L. Dave Evil. That was a story told to me by my friend in about 1995, maybe 98, that period, 1995 to 1998. From David Cooper, I give you the red-headed David Cooper, my friend of mine, good friend of mine. You told me that story one night in your front room. I appreciate it. Show me your dad's artwork. He's an artist out there in Tulsa, New Mexico, or somewhere like that. And you told me the story when he was out that way. I believe New Mexico's that town of all the artists out there, where they all gather together. It's in New Mexico. But Dave Cooper told me this and shared it. And he was a real good friend, but I think he's kind of private. But for this, Dave, I hope you don't mind. If you do, let me know if you see it. But he's a good guy. And this guy is one guy who would not lie about this stuff. I mean, there's many people out there you'd think, So on with the story of Dave Evil. Dave said his dad was not a Christian guy, okay? So, started off with, you want to go click, I don't want to see this. Okay, so he wasn't a Christian guy. Didn't, he's like anybody else, mediocre about everything, but he was a good artist, a really pretty good artist, above the bubble. So he wanted to go out, like all these artists do, and draw pictures out in Tulsa. He wanted to live out that way in New Mexico, so he did. And he had a job like... let's see. Like a delivery type service job, like the UPS guys or FedEx guys or something like that. It was in that kind of time frame where there was delivery service. So Dave said, how did he put that? God, that's not his story. Well, anyway, he said his dad was working in his job, like anything, living his life, driving his truck, going back and forth to work, and I don't know necessarily having any struggles with his faith or learning faith or believing, or probably agnostic at best. I would guess, Dave, if I'm wrong, correct me. But anyway, Dave said his father was going back and forth to work, had his mediocre life, and he said, how's that go? He said he was working one day, and they hired a guy, and the guy's name, when he introduced, was going to be going alongside him and working with him. His name was Dave Evil. That's how he introduced himself. Dave Evil. And he said he had a quirky feeling about the guy, but just put it to rest, Didn't believe a lot of anything, so the guy had a name like Dave Evil, whatever. Said that guy every day never failed coming to his dad and said to him, I think something tragic, I just had a feeling something's going to happen to you today. Like, I'm talking a car wreck or falling off a bridge or, just that feeling you get, like a premonition or whatever. Something, just don't feel right, man. I just always had this dark feeling. Something's going to happen today. His dad didn't bug his dad at first. But over a period of time, the guy just didn't give up. He said it was almost incessant every day. This guy would say, I feel like something's going to happen to you, David. It wasn't. For me, I'd have blowed him off or whatever. But after over and over a period, his dad started weighing on his dad. And he would tell him what he thought was going to happen to him that day as he was going. But this day, he said his dad would finally come to himself, and it was just rattling his nerves and shaking him up, Dave's dad. And he said, for whatever reason, the guy, Dave Evil, came up to him this day and said, you know what? I feel, he said, where he lived, I don't even know, he said, if he knew the direction he went, but he went over this very straight bridge over to his house, very long bridge, with guardrails on it and everything. But the guy said, I have this feeling today that, I feel your truck's just going to go over that bridge. It's going to kill you. It's going to just throw you off in the water, and you're just going to drown. That's what's going to. I just had this feeling this was going to happen to you. Your truck's. You're going to be driving down the road. You're just going to go out. Your truck's going to go out of control. You go over the guardrail. The end. So his dad said, Dave, I'm going to tell you the true story. This is what happened. He said, I drove my truck. He drove an old truck, probably like an old Ford pickup truck or Chevy. Drove it to the edge of that bridge, long straight bridge with them guardrails low on the side. And said, I was determined I was driving 2 miles an hour or what. I don't care if people could go around me, whatever, on this bridge. I'm creeping across this bridge today. And it'll have to cave in or something for something to happen. So he said he was barely putt-putting, and he said to this day, he said he could let go of his steering wheel and it would turn to the right. Turn to the right. He said he had to fight. He said it was a literal fight. A literal fight. To keep his car from going over that bridge. He said every ounce of strength he had got him across that long bridge. Well, that was it. He blew it off. He was still concerned and worried and fretful, of course. You know, getting across that bridge. And this guy said it. And he said, but his steering wheel would just sit there and turn itself to the right. To the guardrail, like it wanted to go to the guardrail. So he said, nah, he thought, well, he blew it off. He said that evening or the next day, he said he was driving, it was either to work or home. Or that evening he was driving around and he said a long black limousine with dark windows pulled up beside him as he was driving, kept even with him. Rolled the windows down and looked at him. And he said, I kid you not, David, it was a guy in a tuxedo with a boar's head, pig's head, and the snout sticking out. And just the evil, you could feel it poured out of this limo. He said, in the face, he can't explain it. He said, that's the best explanation I can give you. A hog's head with the tusk driving a limousine, chasing me side by side. And he said, I got out of there. Of course, mind-blowing thing. He about wrecked, trying to get away from the guy in town. He said he drove to the local church, threw himself across the altar, and of course somebody was there, the preachers were there, and he got saved, turned his life over to the Lord. Now is a very on-fire Christian. This was an old story. But that was it. He said, Dave, he believed in the Lord. He believed in it. He said he turned to this. Anyway, he got saved, went home, said nothing about it. But the next day, okay, he went back to work, and lo and behold, this guy had been hired for a few months or whatever, Dave Evil. He didn't show. Something happened. He didn't show up a couple times. Didn't show. But he said the next couple of days, as I went back to work, he showed up one day and said his dad gave him the word. Said when he saw his dad, it was like he couldn't believe he was alive. It just saw his face put white. He turned white, pale, shook. He said the guy, you could literally see him shake. He said, I just looked at him. He said he stayed away the rest of me. He said he completely avoided me in that business to stay away from me. And he said 2 weeks later, the guy died in a car crash, and I believe he was going over a bridge. But he did die in a car crash. But Dave Evil died, and he never heard from him again. He said he stayed far away from him after that incident in the bridge, would never talk to him again, and just avoided him like the plague. But he said just a few days later, I believe, he was in a car crash in a horrific, tragic event. Died, burned up in it. He said he was definitely burned and just beyond recognition. The guy died. Well, that's my story of Dave Evil. And for old Dave Cooper, thank you for sharing it with me, Dave. That was probably one of the best stories I've heard. I heard back then. That was just awesome. It goes to show you there's something out there more than we know. And I know, but I don't know that everybody knows. And I'm sharing with you. I know what I believe. And I believe I know who it was and who his dad was wrestling with. So thanks for the story. And I'll tell you another testimony later in my sharing time on another time, same channel. On this is Dave Evil, when I had to tell it today. It just came back to my memory, and that was the story for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching on my Oklahoma Journeys, Mysterious Oklahoma Facebook, YouTube, Patriotic Piper, a.k.a. me, and my Oklahoma Backyard History, guys. Thanks for watching. Watch again, and stay with me, like I said, a while. It's always going to be a good one, and I've got some good stuff coming up this fall. Thanks a lot. I'm going to revamp on some of the stuff I visited 2 years ago. Carlos Bridge, I'm still trying to get some paperwork, and I got to go study downtown on some research they got for me. And that's my favorite one. Carlos Bridge, maybe Crybaby Bridge, Keatonville again, and restudy on that some. But, if there's something, for some event or something I don't know about, I am getting ready to do, they said that the old high school in Skytook is haunted in the boiler room. I'm getting ready to I'm trying to find a legend on it, but that my friends have had some supernatural experiences out there. We're going to do a video on that for sure, maybe next week. Maybe sooner. Thanks for watching. Dave Evil from David Cooper and from old Jeff. Thanks for watching Mysterious Oklahoma Facebook. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.